what have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. Yep. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. Mm-hmm. They're not. It's what, like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows, I got my skewers, I got the fireplace. I'm gonna sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state, you're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 in full effect right here on the Early Line. It's just what we do. We set the table for the rest of your SportsGrid day. Get you in the notes when you show up to work. You can go to that water cooler and you can feel amped up, amplified, and ready to go with all the information that you need to impress your coworkers and much more. Sonny writes out, it's Joe Ranieri, and tonight we have the NFL. That's one game. You know what else has one game? Yeah, the NBA has one game. You know about college basketball tonight? Embarrassing slate, but it will play. But we'll make sure at the end of the show in our buy section, we'll find some games for you to chew on and certainly make some money because that's what we do. We keep people, Joe, in the know right here on the grid.
What it is all about, Donnie. Knowledge is power, right? The more you have, the better off you are. And we are heading into another huge weekend here to start the month of November, Donnie. A lot going on right now.
Yeah, you know what I need right now? I need a tweet coming out there from somebody on the inside for like ESPN or a major beat Reddit goes, we're going to expand the college football playoff this year to 24 teams. That would make it a perfect morning in early November, and Joe Ranieri would agree. But I know what he does agree with. When the early lineup kicks in like it does right now, we got those hot topics to get out to the people, Joe, and that includes Ovechkin. As a little kid, does anybody ever grow up like, you know what? I'm going to score 900 goals in the NHL. Well, maybe Ovechkin did say that. He just scored his 900th goal in the NHL. Do you know how hard that is to do in this day and age, Joe? Remember in the 70s and 80s and the Alexander Mogilny, he's like, yeah, we're going to score 70, 80 goals a year. They can't even do that anymore. And this guy still got 900 for his career.
1,631 total points, 731 assists to go with those 900 goals here. Just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, he has been the NHL's top goal scorer 9 different times, the most in NHL history. This guy has scored 50 goals or more on 9 different seasons. The guy is he's been a machine. It's unbelievable. The question is, Donnie, how much longer does he keep going here?
Why can't he keep going?
As long as he wants, apparently.
I mean, this dude, you want to talk, he is a absolute machine, a cyborg in the NHL, and maybe he get 1,000 goals? Nah, come on now. Don't get me started. 1,000 goals in the NHL? Maybe it happens here. LeBron James, he's also played for a long time, but understand this. the sciatica, like, answer me this question, Joe. Was the sciatica just a cover-up because we know he's old and he can't play an entire season? This is the easiest way to do it. Just, hey, he's got sciatica. We'll see him in December. Just so the NBA doesn't get angry that you're actively just stashing a superstar player on the sidelines here. It can't be, because understand this. If his sciatica hurts this much, he's just ramping up now. He's not going to be able to play more than 10 games this year because it just doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't. But I mean, listen, we understand what this is all about. This is very much like the Kyler Murray to IR, so you can start somebody else. Where it's a cover here because we all know there's no point. He's not going to play an 82-game season. He never was. So the longer he can ramp up, Donnie, without anybody questioning, the better off it'll be. I don't really think we see him on a consistent basis until the calendar turns the year.
How about this? Consistent basis here in Kyler Murray. We haven't seen that in the past couple of years. Injuries and just not good play on the field equates to, he's got a big contract. And also now we're hearing from Jonathan Gannon telling us, like, hey, man, we're going to put him on IR. He's just not ready yet. No, just means Jacoby Brissett is playing really good football, and you want to avoid an absolute locker room meltdown. So you tell your superstar quarterback, hey, kid, stay over there in the corner, get healthy. Jacoby's going to lead this football team.
Donnie, I got to tell you here, the more I look at this, the more I'm thinking the Cardinals are probably bet on from here on out in a lot of spots here. As I think this is the kind of move that Gannon makes because he knows that locker room. There's got to be some juice in that locker room right now. Otherwise, he would have went back to Kyler Murray. And I think the fact that he didn't means they might very well be bet on here over the next couple of weeks here with Jacoby Brissett and that offense being able to actually do what they want to do and look like a competent offense.
Joe, you watch boxing, right? And the referees in the beginning, they explain the rules to each one of the fighters. And one of those rules is always protect yourself at all times, which means, hey, this guy might do some crazy stuff. I don't care if you're not paying it. Keep your hands up here and make sure he can't just clock you in the head when it might be illegal or not looking. Case in point in the NFL. Sliding as a quarterback going full speed against defenders who run 4.240s going full speed as well. You know, it's not a good idea. Giving yourself up because they can blast you and use your head like a basketball off of the turf. That's what happened to C.J. Stroud. He's not playing this weekend. Why? Because he slid last week and got his head bounced off the turf like a basketball.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I don't know that it's going to make a ton of difference in this particular game one way or the other. I mean, listen, Davis Mills has been there for a while. He is not an inexperienced quarterback. Davis Mills, C.J. Stroud, the issues remain the same for Houston. Hopefully he gets back sooner rather than later because he brings a little something extra to the table. But this offense, one way or the other, not in a good shape right now for the Houston Texans.
Not in a good shape here in the NBA. Walker Kessler down. His team's going to miss him there. We just went over a double machine right now. Down for the rest of the year. Shoulder injury, Joe. November, December, January, February, March. 5 to 6 months left of the season. Again, did his shoulder just fall off, Joe?
And it's crazy because he was averaging 14, 11, and 3 and 2 blocks a game. I mean, he was really a good part of what was happening here for the Utah Jazz with all those young guys. But unfortunately, that's all she wrote for the season here. But they got enough talent, youth and talent on that team. Might actually not be a terrible thing here for Utah.
World Series had the perfect storm this year, Joe. You had the Dodgers, which either have that Cowboys effect. A lot of people like them. A lot of people don't like them. You have Shohei Ohtani, the world's biggest sporting star on the planet. You had a country in Japan that was enthralled. Why? Because their superstar was in it. You had an entire country of Canada that was enthralled in this because their team was in it. You had the United States that loves Major League Baseball and gave you the Dodgers. They were in it. The perfect storm combined to get us the most watched Major League Baseball game in 34 years, and it didn't disappoint. A lot of times the anticipation comes like, 9-1 final. This game was so sensational. It was, I'm telling you, like, we don't want to be caught up in prisoners of the moment, Joe. One of the most entertaining Major League Baseball games that I've ever watched, and it was a Game 7 of the World Series.
Yeah, Donnie, if you compare a year ago, we had a Game 7 in the NBA, if you recall, and it didn't sniff the ratings that Major League Baseball got with a team from Canada and a team from California. And all we keep hearing is that, oh, yeah, Toronto, they're a ratings killer in the U.S. I don't think so. Pretty good job there by Major League Baseball. I guess maybe baseball isn't as boring as people want to believe it is.
I love it. The rule changes that made to speed the game up and put more action in play gave us one of those great World Series. Hopefully it will continue into the next year where the Dodgers can go out and sign 4 more free agents and get everybody upset at the same time. I don't know if anybody's getting upset about this year. How about Sabalenka going to take on Kyrgios in a battle of the sexes? What is this, Billie Jean King back in the day at the Astrodome trying to reinvigorate it? And number one, who actually cares about this show?
Yeah, and you know what? She's probably going to win, though, if we're completely honest. And he's probably going to blow a gasket. And the whole thing is going to be maybe the best PR thing that tennis has had in a very long time, Donnie. It should be interesting, though. But I would not count her out winning this one here at all.
By the way, Joe, Kyrgios is ranked 600. Like, he's a name guy that I don't like tennis. I know his name. How is he ranked 652nd? Does he not play anywhere? Plays like one tournament a year? Like, why is he so low? Like, how can I have heard his name? And there's 652 better men's tennis players?
Guy's a total hothead. I think he's banned in most countries and not allowed to play, Donnie. I think that's why here. But yes, it should be a lot of fun watching them go. And in fact, put Serena and her together in a doubles match against any 2 dudes around the world. They're still going to win.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe you take that, that YouTube fight route, like you see, like the Paul brothers really getting into them. Maybe that's better than the actual tennis on the court, where you can manufacture some rivalries here as it goes. And by the way, if anybody doesn't know, back in the day, that Billie Jean King match, that did massive ratings and sold out the Houston Astrodome to watch that.
Bobby
I don't know if
Riggs,
they're going to sell out the Houston Astrodome, but yeah, it is what it is. More notes coming up next. What did Vrabel say? Come on back and find out.
We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
But the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You want to throw $12, $13 million at Kiffin? That's always a possibility. Summerall, they lost the other night to, in that matchup to UTSA. Or do you go back to potentially the mad scientist and Nick Saban, give him, complete control of the athletic department and see if he can turn it around? We'll see. But whatever they go, they're going to need a coach to hit the ground running.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
One playoff win, and it's been a train wreck in every other year. But if we all agree that he was right in how he handicapped the quarterback talent coming out of that draft, and they got the right guy, and I think we all do agree on that, then what's the benefit of bringing a totally new voice into the room to now be the coach of Jackson Dart?
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
Good game coming up this weekend in the NFL, 1 o'clock. You have one of the hottest teams in the NFL, the New England Patriots, going on the road to take on maybe a rested and ready Buccaneers team. We're not sure if Bucky Irving's going to be back in that game or Chris Godwin, but Baker Mayfield will be there, and Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks are a 2.5-point favorite. But the trade deadline, Joe Ranieri, was this week. We got some information from Vrabel on you're either all in or all out at the trade deadline, but he explained it a little bit differently here.
Any deals, and is there any measure of disappointment?
Well, first, I would say that deals are like being pregnant. You either are or you aren't. There's no like it's either a deal or it's not. So I don't know how close you can be. I know that everyone worked hard, and that we investigated and looked in and made phone calls, and what personnel departments do.
We worked hard. We didn't make any deals, but here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, something might have happened, but didn't happen. You got to love Vrabel, man. Can you tell he played for Belichick in some way, shape, or form there? He should have just been like, listen, we're on to Tampa Bay. I don't know what to tell you here. I can't help you.
There they go. By the way, if they win this game, New England, I mean, didn't maybe think at the beginning of the year they would be contenders to the Buffalo Bills. They are going to be contenders against the Buffalo Bills here. Now, they're getting points here. It's a tough spot. Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback, and they're rested, but they are down some key pieces here. You take a look at their schedule coming up at this point and say, all right, they're going to play the Buccaneers, but then it's the Jets. Then it's the Bengals. Then it's the Giants. Then it's a bye. And then you take on the Buffalo Bills. And look at the last two teams they play this season, Joe. The Jets and the Dolphins again. It is realistic, Joe. They can win the division because that schedule says, where are you going to lose?
Yeah. No, it's the only thing you've got to guard against with them, it's still a very young team, Donnie. I mean, I think this is a huge test for them to go to Tampa, who is coming out of a bye with an experienced quarterback, experienced head coach, quality defense here, getting healthier. This is a big litmus test here for New England. If they pass it, great. The sky is the limit, but I do not think they're going to pass this test here.
But if I look at this too, and I say to myself, there is a correlation from if they win this game, I'm going to say they win that division because there are a lot of layups on that schedule. I understand they play Buffalo again, but they already handled Buffalo. I'm not saying they're going to beat Buffalo again, but again, you get the bye week here before you get ready for them. Look, man, go out on a limb. New England wins this weekend against the Bucs as a slight dog. I think they win that division, and I think that makes some sense. Ravens and the Vikings here. The Vikings, I didn't see this coming last week. They were very good on defense, and J.J. McCarthy made the plays he had to on offense, and they dispatched the Detroit Lions. That wasn't, hey, got lucky in that game. No, Minnesota was the better football team in that game, and they handled their business. Now they're going to take on Baltimore when the last time we saw them, Joe, against the lowly Dolphins, but smashed them. 4 touchdown passes by Lamar Jackson. Home dog here, Minnesota, 4.5, and a heavy public favorite here on the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ravens are going to be public darlings from here on out, Donnie, and we know this with Lamar under there. But I am not convinced that Lamar is 100%. You know this, Donnie, I know this. This hamstring injury is lingering. He did not look 100% in that game against Miami, but again, you can look good against Miami's defense and not have to worry about it. I don't think he's going to be able to elude all of the people coming for him on the Minnesota side of the football defensively because they will be coming for him, and they are going to test just how good is Lamar's hamstring here. He could be under duress a lot in this game. I don't know that I'm running the lay 4.5 points here with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, again, Lamar's arm was just fine in that game against the Dolphins, but he wasn't all there in the pocket with that scramble ability. And the one thing you do know, Brian Flores' defense, Joe, they are blitzing and they are coming after you. If Lamar is healthy, you get outside that blitz, that's a big gain. If you can't protect yourself, that's going to be a sack in the pocket here. Maybe we see that type of information flowing on Sunday Night Football. Why? The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. This game lined up at a 3-point favorite. Right now is a favorite towards the home team, the Chargers, 45.5 as the total. But you saw last week, one of the better young tackles in football, Joe Alt, he's down for the season. That offensive line is a mess. That defense for Pittsburgh looks like it get back on track, maybe being able to find that quarterback and get a couple more sacks. Pittsburgh and the Chargers on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, Pittsburgh lining up to be a pretty big bet here this week for a lot of folks. We told you in the spread lines, I mean, this was 4.5, and it's been all Steeler money here on the road. Now, historically, this is the spot you have wanted to back Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, right? As dogs on the road, they've been really good in this spot, and I think this will drop under a field goal, Donnie, before it's all said and done. So if you like Pittsburgh, I would bet it sooner rather than later.
How about an awesome game on Monday Night Football between two NFC powerhouses, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers? The Packers are a favorite at minus 2.5 points in the total of 44.5 to 45.5, depending on where you're shopping at. Cold weather in Green Bay for Monday night, Joe. Temperature to kick off in the high 20s here. No precipitation in the forecast and light winds. The Eagles coming off a bye. The Green Bay Packers embarrassed themselves at home last week at Lambeau Field by losing to the Carolina Panthers. Eagles as a dog, total of 44.5, Joe.
I would recommend that whatever you're going to do in the teaser market this week, that you anchor everything to the Monday night Philadelphia Eagles getting 8.5 while you can. That would be my suggestion here.
I like that suggestion. And by the way, even if you didn't want to just anchor that in, Joe, you try to tell me right now, two really good defenses, two offenses. We don't know if A.J. Brown's going to play either. Still has that hamstring injury coming off the bye. We'll see if he practices today. Tucker Kraft, the best tight end they have on the Green Bay Packers, maybe the best offensive weapon. He's down there. What if I could console you, Joe? 8.5 points with the Eagles, and then 50.5 to the under in cold weather on Monday Night Football. Seems like, look, I'm not a teaser guy. I'm just saying. And the teasers always look good. But that looks good to me.
I love where you're thinking. Same game teaser there. I like it. Sunday night Steelers, Monday night Eagles in a two-team teaser. Don't hate it.
Oh, sounds beautiful at that point right now, but a great slate of football here starts once again with Thursday Night Football tonight. Then we have a nice slate on Sunday, which also an overseas game in the morning from Germany you want to tune into with those Indianapolis Colts. Let's get to the Kalshi markets next. What wacky questions can we rise up and find some value on next?
We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
But the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You want to throw $12, $13 million at Kiffin? That's always a possibility. Summerall, they lost the other night to, in that matchup to UTSA. Or do you go back to potentially the mad scientist and Nick Saban, give him, complete control of the athletic department and see if he could turn it around? We'll see. But whatever they go, they're going to need a coach to hit the ground running.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
One playoff win, and it's been a train wreck in every other year. But if we all agree that he was right in how he handicapped the quarterback talent coming out of that draft, and they got the right guy, and I think we all do agree on that, then what's the benefit of bringing a totally new voice into the room to now be the coach of Jackson Dart?
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, Kalshi, give us some questions to talk about today. Which way can we invest? And by the way, Joe, I still like that Nick Saban one from yesterday. Yes or no to be the head coach of LSU. I didn't check in on that today, but I should have been firing away yesterday. A $100 bet would pay back $44, which would be a 44% increase on the money that you invested. That's way better than buying a CD, Joe, at 5%. Then you got to wait 6 to 8 months or a year to actually get back at this point. That's going to pay out before the end of the year because why? LSU's going to have a coach before the end of the year. That's the type of fun you can have in these Kalshi markets. Today, Joe, let's take a look at the NFL, and you are a Jets fan. So maybe this gets you a little bit more excited where the Jets could possibly have the number 1 overall pick for the 2026 draft here. The leader in the clubhouse to be number 1 overall, according to Kalshi, Fernando Mendoza with a 42% chance to be the number 1 pick overall. How you feeling about that, Joe?
I like it. I really have been impressed with both of these guys this year. Love what Mendoza has been able to do there at Indiana, but I've been saying it for a while now. I could not have been more impressed. You didn't know what you were going to get from Ty Simpson, right, with Alabama there. But Kalen DeBoer, well, he's already got a top draft pick in the NFL. He's the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons here, and Michael Penix Jr. So he clearly knows what he's doing with quarterbacks here. And I absolutely love what this kid has done this season. I think he's one of the best pure passers they've had there at Alabama, and that's saying something. So I would not be shocked if he is the one to go overall first to the New York Jets.
You know what's interesting, Joe? Because we take a look at different markets, right? Because you take a look at Kalshi and let's just say some other, predictive markets like Poly Market and like everybody jumping into the fold where they are predictive markets and have been very good at their job. Like predictions, like let's just, political, who's going to win a certain election at this point. They've been able to have those accuracy stats way before, let's just say, everybody else gets that information. But here's the thing that I do find is interesting, the cross-reference point that you can take a look at, like from FanDuel to Kalshi here. If you look at Ty Simpson, and you say, I think Ty Simpson is going to be the number 1 overall pick. His yes number, Joe, is 25 cents, which means a $100 wager would pay you back $400. If I go to FanDuel right now, Ty Simpson is a plus 185 to be number 1 overall, which means $100 pays back 185 at that point at this, or 285 is what the actual payoff would be. So some of these markets you can use against themselves, Joe, and just get the better line. It's almost like you're shopping around sports books here, but this is just a different way to do it. And also understanding that each and every day that this changes, it goes higher or lower, you can hit that sale sign.
Well, that's the big difference is that even at a worse price in FanDuel, my money's locked in one way or the other.
Correct.
And, with Kalshi, I make that $100 bet on him. And if that goes from 25 cents to 50 cents, Donnie, I can just cash out and say, see you later, bye-bye, and sell that contract. So there is a big difference. I've already said I will never, ever, ever again make a future bet with a sports book where the money gets tied up and I have to wait till the outcome of the event. Don't have to do that. All future bets for me are going to Kalshi.
Yeah, how about that? Like a guy who's basically 10-1, and you get that draft information 3 weeks before the draft, and he goes to a plus 100. Bam! Why would you even wait for the next week at that point for something bad to happen to the bet that you actually have? Men's college basketball champion, Joe, Houston, Duke, Purdue, the top leaders here. Houston had a 10% chance, which means a $100 bet. The payoff would be $1,000 back. Duke, Purdue, the rest of the usual suspects in there, Joe, making investments in college basketball.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because obviously Purdue has been everyone's favorite here to preseason-wise, but we know how it works with the preseason rankings. I would be looking to fade all of the top teams in the preseason rankings, Donnie, because we learned there's a lot of basketball that can happen here, and preseason rankings ultimately don't mean anything once we get to January here in college hoops.
Let's look forward to this. The U.S. 250th anniversary is coming up next summer. The question here from Kalshi, will the UFC host a fight at the White House? Will the UFC host a fight at the White House by the U.S. 250th anniversary? I love reading so many things, the way they play out. Yeah, $100 bet, Joe, pays back $18, which means an 18% investment. Trump seems like he wants it. Dana seems like he wants it. I think it's going to happen.
I think it's already been agreed upon. So, yeah, now whether it happens by the 250th anniversary, that's a different story. But, yeah, it's going to happen at some point. That's for sure.
July 5th, 2026. We'll see if it goes down here. But fun markets you can invest in, a different way to take a look at it, and also a fun way to bet some of these props here. Crazy stuff as the way it goes around. Let's get back to the NFL. Big weekend ahead. We got to get you caught up to date right here on the Early Line.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Sounds like a blowout, but that's why we talk about point spreads here as well. It's the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, 1 o'clock from South Beach this weekend, or at least close to South Beach in Miami Gardens. You take a look at the total of this game, Joe, anywhere between 49.5 to 50.5 as the number, but a total on the side, minus 9.5 as a favorite towards the Buffalo Bills. Last time we saw those Bills out there, whoa, man, handling their business against the Kansas City Chiefs and looked impressive doing it. Last time we saw the Miami Dolphins on a Thursday night game, embarrassing against the Baltimore Ravens. Is there more embarrassment on the horizon? Well, here's Mike McDaniel facing the Bills here this weekend.
They've beaten us because they've scored more points and done the right football things longer than we have in those games that we lost. I think that that's the measure of a good football team, is being able to win. Particularly there's been a couple one-score games as of late that they've won and we've lost. And so what's critical is that you don't have your wish you could have them back plays in the fourth quarter.
Miami should rule the world.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What was that? Miami. Yeah. Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
What'd he say? Because you gotta go. This whole gotta go, Donnie. He's gotta go. Gotta go.
By the way, like Miami, the uniforms, iconic. The city of Miami, iconic. Like how it doesn't work. Like tax rates in Florida, fantastic. Like Miami football should be the capital of the world where everybody wants to play and all they do is win. And all they do now is feels like it loses and you blow up the team. You got to trade guys away, but you can't trade guys away at the deadline because you don't have a general manager. You don't know if you like Tua as your quarterback. He don't care about the fan base. He just wants to get paid anyway. And that's how you find yourself with the Buffalo Bills coming down the South Beach to take a vacation and probably blow out the Miami Dolphins.
Not probably, Donnie. It's going to be a bloodbath here. By the way, Bradley Chubb, I don't know why Bradley Chubb is still on this team. I can't figure out how they didn't figure out how to trade him. I can't figure out how they didn't trade Jalen Waddle, who's coming up at the end of his rookie deal. But Chubb is already dealing with an injury, hasn't practiced. A whole lot of guys, Rasul Douglas, likely not going in this game. I mean, the Bills are going to hand off left, hand off right. And they are going to run all over this Dolphins team, and it is going to be over before it starts here. I would likely look Bills early in the first half to get it done, get out into a lead, and then expect backups, Trubisky and company, to come in the second half.
You know what's interesting about that, too? Because James Cook got banged up a little bit. He was very good against the Kansas City Chiefs. Missed some practice time yesterday. We'll see if he gets back in there. But ankle injuries you could typically play. But understand this. If you feel you're going to win this game and bigger games are on the docket for you, maybe you don't put that stress level out. So I like where Joe's approach will be. Handle your business. Get up 2 touchdowns, close to a victory in the second half. Nobody likes to say, oh, man, Buffalo 17-3 at the half. Oh, no, this game ended up under 9 points at this because Buffalo didn't care in the fourth quarter. Those are the tough losses that you take, but the Buffalo Bills really should smash this Miami team right now, waving the white flag. The Giants and the Bears, they're going to tee it up in Chicago in the Windy City for good reason. It will be windy this Sunday afternoon. It will be cold in the city of Chicago, which leads me up to this. Chicago opened up as a 3-point favorite. They're up to 4.5. The Giants do stink. There's no question about it. The Bears should win this football game. But as I say that, 47.5 up from 45.5, Joe. I'm taking the under in this game. You give me 15+ mile-an-hour per winds in freezing cold temperatures. I don't care. I'm going under. I am.
I don't get it. I mean, obviously, we're expecting less defense, and the defense of the Giants, well, it wasn't great at home last week, but it's been even worse on the road, Donnie, this season here. So Jackson Dart will probably get his. You got to keep an eye on that secondary of the Bears, which has been really banged up, and teams have been able to take advantage, but I don't know that Dart and company are going to be able to take advantage of that. So, yeah, I'm kind of with you. This might be a battle of who can run the ball and who can't, and have a feeling that Chicago will have some success in this game here offensively.
Yeah, but Brian Burns with 11 sacks here through 9 weeks getting the job done, but I don't know what job he's getting done. That team is an absolute sieve on defense. It's like if I remember a guy like Jason Babin used to play for the Philadelphia Eagles in Washburn's wide 9 front, him and Trent Cole, where all they would do is collapse the pocket and try to sack the quarterback, but everybody else got yards all over the place. Like, that's what it feels like. How did the Giants came in with an elite defensive line, and Burns is an elite player, and it did nothing for the Giants in a matter of victories here. Like, they held on also to Kayvon Thibodeau at the break. Oh, we'll probably lose them next year. Like, what happened to the Giants this year? The offense got injured and it's young, but the defense stinks. And it should. If you have that dominant of a defensive line, why can't you stop anybody?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And they've been even worse on the road, Donnie. The one thing that we thought they'd be really good at this year and improved was on that defensive side of the ball. But you know, again, you had to deal with a lot of early season issues with the quarterback spot before Jackson Dart was in there. They were trailing. They were always on the field. And at least Dart has brought some offense to the table. And by the way, I believe he's now 5-1 to the over on the Giants team total. So in 6 games, he has absolutely exceeded what the market thinks they should be doing offensively. So keep that in mind moving forward.
Keep it in mind moving forward in a game that many people won't be watching here, maybe even attending because most Jets fans hate their team at this point now. Justin Fields going to take on Dylan Gabriel in a bottom of the basement, it should be in this one. Cleveland and New York, favorite now towards Cleveland. Was a 1.5-point favorite for the Jets. Then they decided to trade a couple good players, goes over to 2.5. I'm waiting for the threes, Joe. You give me threes, I'm taking the Jets. Jets, Jets, Jets.
No, I don't like the Jets.
Yeah, neither do I, kid. I can tell you that. But man, is it hard, Donnie. It is so hard to think that what are we going to get offensively from the Browns here? Are we going to get enough for them to actually win this game and pull? It feels like I'm looking at an under. You know, the one thing we know, Donnie, what's the best unit on the field in that game? It's the Browns defense.
Cleveland defense.
And what's the worst unit? As bad as the Browns offense is, the Jets might be actually worse here. So call me nuts here. I think a team total of the Jets under is in play this weekend.
Answer me this question, too, because, you know, coach is not necessarily wanting to tank. The team is telling you right now, this year is not our year, maybe not next year, but look to the future when we have those draft picks and we start to see those rookies on the field. This is where we already get started caught up, Joe. We're in the first week of November. Usually we don't have these conversations till like mid-December. Like, these guys can't win any one of these last 3 games. Like, they want the number 1 overall pick. This game could go a long way, Joe, to determine who has a higher pick here. So when I look at the end of this football game, like, yes, the coaching staff technically wants to win, but isn't it better for the Jets just to get rolled up the rest of the season and, like, not even try?
Well, they'll never admit it, Donnie, but let's be honest here. The Jets have waved the white flag here at this point in the season at week 10. So let's be honest. Nothing that they did at the trade deadline has improved this team right now for this game. They've gotten a little bit worse on defense, if that's even possible, but the offense is still going to be a nightmare, and it's going against one of the best defenses that they have faced all year long. I don't think it gets any better in this game, Donnie. I really don't.
Let's see what happens. How about getting better here for the San Francisco 49ers? Just trying to get healthy again. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Is Brock Purdy going to make a reappearance, or is it going to be Mac Jones? The one thing we do know, the Rams right now are the better team and the favorite team at -4.5 as a favorite, in a total of 49.5. Can the Rams get the leg up here on San Francisco?
This is a big number to ask the Rams to cover here in a division rivalry, much like what we got here tonight. Like, you're asking a lot of these teams. While, yes, there's issues, my goodness, this is a big ask for the Rams in a spot of 2 teams that know each other with 2 great coaching staffs on both sides here. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, by the way, a lot of credit to Kyle Shanahan and that staff and Robert Saleh on defense there. That team is so injured where you're playing with guys you never even heard of, and yet they're still winning football games. We'll see if that winning ways can continue, because this game is going to go a long way to determine the champion of the NFC West. Let's have some fun next with the Prime Minister. That's Cam Stewart.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's what, like, the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state, you're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor, because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's a Thursday morning on the early line. How we do business and set up the rest of the Sports Grid day, just the way we like it, with a lot of energy here. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. Now we bring in the Prime Minister of Canada. He's Cam Stewart. You know the energy is high, and there's so many sports going on. And maybe he wants to talk a little about Trevor Zegras of the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't know. We can go anywhere you want, Cam.
Not really, Donnie. No. Just got back from Buffalo. As Prime Minister, we're still reeling in Canada after that World Series. But what are you going to do? That's what happens, Donnie. When you're outside of Toronto, bad things happen. I know you're a Philadelphia guy. Usually good things happen. But Tommy knows, too. Usually in Buffalo and Toronto, that 1.5 hour radius of bad luck, it penetrates from Cheektowaga all the way to Mississauga in my backyard. I can't believe it. But, hey, we move forward. We move on. There's more sports to bet. And these golfers, as I tell Joe, what are they doing? They're not quitting. The PGA Tour's in Mexico, and the other guys in Abu Dhabi, the European DP Tour, for a big tournament, actually, with Rory McIlroy and all the heavy hitters. They're in Dubai with the Camels.
How about this, Cam? Let's get right to the business here, because we love talking golf here, specifically in November. Skins game, by the way, coming up in November as well.
Beautiful.
But tell me about my guy Higo. Any shot for my guy Higo to take down some cash in this tournament? Come on.
Love Higo this week, guys. He's one of my favorite guys this week at 28-1. Joe will tell you the last time we came on the show a couple weeks ago, he finished second. He's been playing really good golf, the talented lefty from South America. Also, guys, Max Gracerman, he's been traveling all over the world. He's back in Mexico, second and a fourth in his last tournaments. It doesn't matter where this kid from Duke plays. He's been very, very good. I like him. And, Joe, it wouldn't be a morning with Cam without, who drinks coffee when we have Jaeger bombs. One thing about Steven Jaeger, he's a top 10, top 20 machine. He plays really, really well in Mexico. That's one of the places where he gets it going. I like him. And I don't want to tell you about Cole Kane again, Don. You're like, these guys are going to, Cam, can you please stop picking the same two guys? But he's plus 210 for a top 20. I love Eric Cole early. Literally, these guys just got off the course in Mexico. We have one group on the course right now. So that's what I'm looking at. In the DP World Tour, I took Ty Hatton 11-1. We talked about it. Tommy in the green room was telling me Rory McIlroy smacking balls. But, guys, you hear the story, too, and I just can't believe this is happening. So I'm watching Golf Channel yesterday, and the DP World Tour has gone to 72 holes. I'm like, what? Pardon? Could you repeat that? Sorry. I mean, Liv has gone to 4 rounds.
Yep.
I'm like, wasn't the purpose of Liv to bring out the bands, to get the music going, to have fun? And instead they're bowing down to a 72-hole tournament. Like, are these guys stooges? What are you doing? I said, Joe, I got an idea. 36-hole shotgun. Like, then we could shotgun and be like, what are they doing here? Why are you going to 72? Like, you can't compete with the PGA Tour. The point was to be different, yet these guys are going. I have absolutely no idea what's happening. The PGA Tour has all the power now, Donnie, but this is, like, unbelievable. This Live stuff is literally going down the toilet. I can't believe they're going to 72 holes. What a bad idea. That's my opinion.
Cam, I think it all had to do with the fact that they can't get any of the world ranking points by playing 3 rounds and not 4. And they tried everything in their power to do it. And those guys, they can't get the points enough to be able to do it. And I think that's a big factor as to, all right, well, we'll go 4 rounds then. But every tournament we play on the Live, we better be getting the same points value that all the guys on the PGA Tour, because that's what the PGA Tour has used. Oh, you don't have enough points. We can't. Sorry, you only play 3 rounds, not 4.
You're a smart guy, Donnie. They only have like less than half of the field. So how do we justify that too, right? It's not like they have 130, 140 guys teeing off. You got 60 guys. So you're losing half of the competition. They can cut it any way they want. They can say whatever the hell they want. It's incorrect information and it's stupid. Anyway, the whole thing's dumb. Just get all the best players, take Rahm, Hatton, all of them, bring them back to the PGA Tour and blow up the Live tournament. But anyway, guys, Thursday night football, I don't know what we're doing here. Are we taking the Raiders? I'm actually thinking about doing it in a divisional game. Denver's been very, very good to me. We know how it is. Like Minnesota and Detroit, divisional points, guys. I know it's a very, very tough proposition, but watching the Jaguars and Raiders play last week, Brock Bowers was a one-man gang. I get Denver's defense is amazing, but right now we're almost getting double digits. I'm going to take a shot with the Las Vegas Raiders. Joe, you wouldn't believe it. We're in the contest, 2 games away from 80,000. We went 19 and we lost our final 2 games. We would have won 12K US, 80K. I look at my partner's sheet. He's got Jacksonville. I almost did a double take. I want to smash my head through like glass and wood. I'm like, what are we doing? Jacksonville Raiders game? And I told him, don't take the Chargers. Tennessee's due. And they covered. But anyway, Joe, can you believe that? 19, we were right there for the money, but that's the story of my life. Blue Jays short, broke. What are we going to do? I apologize to the listeners who watched before, who gave them a bad hockey pick, Joe. I remember he's like, Cam, Ranieri gave me great picks, and your hockey pick cost me the parlay. I'm sorry, guys. I really try to do my best. I've been doing well in hockey, but I seem to come on the show and give losers. How about we give Carolina in regulation tonight against a Minnesota Wild team? The Carolina Hurricanes are hot, and I like Ottawa minus 125 on the row in Boston. Guys, I'm sorry. I'll do my best on Thursdays. I don't know what it is. I've been on fire with hockey. We had the San Jose Sharks as a dog, but I seem to come on the show and give these people losers, and I'd like to apologize for giving them losers on the ice. Just winners, please.
Just winners, Cam, and that's all you can do tonight. And then when you take a look at the Philadelphia Flyers as a short pooch down in Nashville, it seems like an automatic winner to me. The Flyers, the most talented young team in hockey, Cam. Come on now, they could beat the Preds.
Donnie, I will take the Flyers, but please, people, all thoughts of Cam Stewart do not reflect the thoughts of Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. I will take the Flyers small. Parlay last night. I really don't believe Nashville is a very good team, guys, but let's just say this, Donnie. If it was like a contest pick or something, I wouldn't have a Flyers versus Nashville game as a game that I needed, kind of like Jacksonville and the Raiders. But I do like the Flyers tonight. I think they're going to continue to get better with their young talent on the team. What do you guys think about a Brock Bowers touchdown tonight if the Raiders are going to get anything? Can they cover this guy, Joe? Maybe props on Bowers. He was an absolute one-man gang against Jacksonville. Totally different scenario with him in the mix. And Donnie, I got to tell you something. My Seahawks, we're coming after your Eagles. In the Battle of the Bird, that Shaheed move, brilliant stuff by Seattle. That is exactly the type of player we needed. A speedy guy because Cooper Kupp's getting a little bit older. So I really love what this team's doing right now. One of the shockers of the league, the Seahawks.
Read my mind, Cam, because I wanted to go right to the Seahawks. And you take a look at them against Arizona. Brissett's going to get the start. He's playing good football. But I just feel like Seattle isn't getting the mentions of the other teams in the NFC. And the way this football team is built, defensive-minded, pressured, defensive head coach, Sam Darnold playing great football, Jackson Smith and Jigba, is the number one. But now you got the compliment to him. I loved that Shaheed move. I talked to Joe all week about it.
I think it's one of the most underrated moves, guys. I'm telling you, watch out for the Seahawks. They're plus 150 to win the division. Right now, they're in the 2-hole behind the Rams. Love this team, guys. I love what they're doing in the future. We're going in the right direction.
We always go in the right direction with Cam Stewart right here on the early line. Cam, thanks for rising and grinding for Joe and Donnie. We'll be right back to shut it all down next.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's what like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like their clubhouse dynamic. I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Action-packed 2-hour shows. That's how we get down on the early line right here on the SportsGrid Network. A lovely, lovely day here in sports. And NBA, no surprise to you. You only have one game. College basketball, ridiculous games. But we got the NFL back tonight. We got the NHL. And we just had Cam Stewart talking about some golf that you might want to get down on here today. But now's the time of the show where you hear us talk all the way through. We want to hear what you have to say. Here's our Fade the Public poll. Get on over to X, people. Hit the follow button on the SportsGrid Network. It's at SportsGrid here. We ask a question every single day, Monday through Friday, on our Fade the Public poll of where the public is going with some certain information. Today's question, real simple. What are you betting on in today's Thursday Night Football matchup between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos? There's 4 options: over, under, Raiders, or Broncos. And yes, the spreads are included there. For me, Joe, I actually went under 42.5. Don't love it, but I figured I'd go that direction. But I now see 24% of the votes coming in on the under and only 14.5% on the over. The public liking the under better than the over, but overall liking those hometown Broncos at minus 8.5. Where'd you go in this poll, Joe?
Well, it's, laying more than a touchdown with such a low total is tough, Donnie. It really, really is here. I am not running to the window to lay 8.5, 9.5 points in a divisional game, no matter everything says Denver here, Donnie. And this to me might be the contrarian spot of the year where everyone's running left. I think it's time that we take the points and run right here, Donnie, tonight.
Brock Bowers back in the fold. We'll see what we can do. And also, we talked about it. The Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Cold weather conditions in Green Bay. It's Green Bay. It's a night game. It's in the month of November. But you take a look at Denver tonight. Not so cold conditions, Joe. In the 50s, light winds, no precipitation, a pretty clean slate tonight. So a dome team going outdoors to Denver in November, this is probably as good as it gets. We'll find out to see which way that game turns out. And will the public be right, or will fading the public be the appropriate response in that football game? But now, it's time to get the people what they need. It's buy bets right here. What are we doing tonight, Joe? Where are we going? We going with NIU again tonight? Did they play again tonight? Because they certainly didn't play football last night. Let's get some winners, Joe. Let's go.
Yeah, after 2 nights of MACtion football, I am so happy to get Conference USA football back here in midweek, Donnie, because that might be some of the worst football I've had to endure in a very, very long time. But if you thought those games were bad, well, wait till you see Georgia Southern and App State here tonight. But I think they're bad in a good way here. Neither of these teams are very good. In fact, Donnie, both are absolutely horrific defensively here. Neither of these teams are going to get a stop. Georgia Southern has returned one of the most experienced classes in the conference, and App State going through a few changes. But if you look at what they've been able to do, they're dropping 30, 40 points a game here. They can't stop anybody, but they don't have a problem scoring, and neither does Georgia Southern, who can throw the ball all over the yard here. When I get 2 horrific defenses and 2 offenses that can run the ball and throw the ball and put points on the board, I got no problem here looking at the over tonight. I don't think we're getting a ton of defensive stops here. I think we're going to get a couple of turnovers. I think we're going to get short fields, and I think we're going to get a boatload of points. So over the 61 here tonight for me with App State and Georgia Southern.
Boone, North Carolina, beautiful place to be this time of the year at the Rock. We'll see if they can come up with some points between App State and Georgia Southern. Points, that's what I'm going to need tonight. It's only one NBA game, and I can't really do a public fade tonight because it doesn't really fit the agenda. You just need that 10-game slate. You can pick out a good fade. Last 2 nights have been fantastic with the public fades. But tonight, I'm going to say to myself, all right, the Clippers are on the road. They're going to be down James Harden. And they're going to be down Kawhi Leonard. That means more shots available for the other starters. And if we have a total in the mid-220s, they're probably approaching 100-plus points in this basketball game, maybe 110, 115. I'm going with Ivica Zubac tonight over 17.5 points. Not because I love the guys. Last 2 games, 7 and 9 points. But also, if there's more shots available on the road, just give me Ivica Zubac. Approach that 20-point price marker and cash in a ticket tonight. Over 17.5 for me, Joe. 18 gets the chicken dinner tonight.
Get her done, Donnie. That's what I'm talking about here. Listen, no Harden, no Kawhi. They might actually be pretty good, certainly from a point scoring perspective tonight.
Look, I'm looking forward to an NFL game. I got to get in the lab and do some damage and win some bets here. That's how we get down for Joe and Donnie. We'll see you bright and early on a Football Friday.